Welcome. Thank you for joining the Insurance Haus podcast. Appreciate you watching here. This is a live episode today. Really excited for our guest. It's an honor to have Drew come on. He's just setting up here now. He should be on any minute. And just want to take a moment to explain to you that what we're trying to accomplish here with the Insurance Haus. For one, I want to be able to reach our clients. We've recorded, this will be our 5th episode. The first 4, 3 were on the topic of healthcare, whether it's health insurance or healthcare in some way, shape, or form. We also had one on health plans, and we had Sharp Healthcare on with the numerous doctors, and also risk management. We had another risk management segment, but I want to make sure we reach our clients and give them good information. Drew just joined. I'm going to go ahead and have him join here. Drew, how are you?
Hey, how are you doing? Good. How are you doing?
Excellent, man. Thanks for taking the time.
For sure.
Yeah, I kind of hopped on. Yeah. Thanks, man. This is great. Drew's a really busy guy. As I mentioned, he's with Safesite. Safesite is a risk and safety platform. I'm going to have him explain a little more about it, but this is great. So thanks for joining, Drew. Thanks for coming on the Insurance Haus. We appreciate your time. We know you're super busy. So before we get started, man, would you mind telling us a little bit about your background? Telling us about yourself?
Sure, that's great. I've been in safety and health and now insurance and risk management for about 15, maybe 16, 17 years, I think. Actually came out of school. I had a degree in criminology and sociology from Western Michigan, and was looking to get into law enforcement or the Secret Service, something like that, and ended up getting a job with assistance from my dad, who works at a company in Chicago called Brandenburg, and he got me in working as a field engineer, and I kind of learned a lot about the industry and construction as a whole, and then went and worked for OSHA, for the federal government, for about 8 years, and did compliance activities and did a lot of work with different types of organization, general industry, everything, and did that for about 8 years, 9 years, then got into the insurance side and risk management, and I've been there ever since.
Awesome, man. I think before I get to my next question, I want to touch on OSHA for a sec.
Sure.
I mean, it's kind of a word that comes up with clients or people in business, and they kind of cringe. Now I know there's different OSHA departments. There's federal OSHA, the state OSHAs. California has their own OSHA. But I mean, how strict is OSHA?
I mean, they're pretty strict, when you're working for OSHA, you're enforcing federal laws. So you have to enforce those federal laws across the books, no matter what kind of organization you're dealing with. A company, if it's a large company, if it's a massive organization, either way, they all have to adhere to the same federal standards to keep employees safe. So it's a pretty strict line you got to walk when you go out there and you're enforcing those types of federal laws.
Yeah, and you got to figure, if there really should be no reason to fear OSHA unless you're not doing something proper, right? As a business owner.
Yeah, there's a lot of federal compliance information in there, and there's hundreds and hundreds of pages of OSHA law, so it's hard to be 100% in compliance all the time. But I always try to be the nicest OSHA compliance officer I guess I could be when I be in the field doing that, and just having conversations with employers like, hey, this is something you need to do a little better on, or hey, this is completely wrong, and being able to kind of have those conversations person to person really help that job.
That's awesome, man. And now, when you were with them, you were actually in the field surveying sites and visiting employers?
Yeah, I started my career there as a compliance officer. So I would go out and start cases and write OSHA citations and see those all the way through. I don't even know how many investigations and inspections I did, but I did fall protection inspections all the way through fatalities and egregious cases. I did a lot of work there, and it was a great experience. I got a lot of experience you can't get anywhere else working there. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sure you saw everything. You saw a lot. So you kind of gave us your background, and now we know how you got into risk and safety. Before we start talking about Safesite and what you're doing now, tell us a little bit about what you do outside of work. What types of things do you enjoy?
I actually, outside of work, I have 3 kids, Jack, Aiden, and Grace, and a beautiful wife, Colleen, that I spend a lot of my time with. And then the next thing I do is I coach high school rugby in Chicago, and that's kind of where I spend all my time is those 3 endeavors: work, my family, and then there.
Rugby, man, at the high school level.
It's pretty high school level, so it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I also coach. I coach youth ice hockey. So
very cool, very nice.
Yeah, man, it's I love it. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Right now, I'm coaching 14U, but soon enough, I'll have some high school kids, so that should be fun. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
As we move along here, tell us about Safesite. I mean, I know there's lots of safety companies out there. I've personally, I've worked with you alongside you, and I think you guys do an awesome job, just amazing, and you've been real helpful to a lot of my clients, so I appreciate that. But tell us about Safesite and tell us what makes Safesite different than other safety companies.
So Safesite as an organization, what we like to do is really tailor make the digital safety application for our customers. So by learning the company, what they do, how they operate, their internal workings, that kind of really, we make it personal, make it for them so it works for them. Every company is a little different. Every company has their own nuances. Some companies do various work. So if you can't kind of work within that company's parameters of what they're doing, it makes it hard for them to use an application. So the first thing is Safesite is completely tailor-made for the organization. And that just changed the way employees look at using a digital application for safety software.
That's awesome, man. So would you consider obviously you're a tech company, right? You would consider yourself
Correct.
a tech company first?
Yes.
Okay. And now do you consider yourself an InsurTech company?
Yeah.
Or do you consider your partnership with Foresight?
Yeah, I kind of see the partnership with Foresight and Safesite as the InsurTech value, which is great. Foresight is the insurance carrier that utilizes Safesite specifically for their policyholders, and that's where the real value add is with an employer looking to work with a workers' comp company. And Foresight's the only InsurTech in the workers' comp market right now that's using like a Safesite application that gauges it really checks the engagement of the employer and safety and health on a weekly basis. And that's where conducting those trainings and doing the inspections on site and doing positive observations working in the field.
Hey, Drew. I think we had a little connection issue there for a minute. Drew, can you see us okay? Yeah, I think we have a little connection issue. I'm going to let Drew kind of unfreeze there for a minute, but getting back to what Drew was saying, and I'm going to let him come back, but I think something that Safesite has done extremely well, and what's new in the market for those of you that are listening, is a connection and an integration with a work comp carrier and a work comp program, so that work comp the work comp company has better insight into the safety and loss prevention protocols of the insured. I think Drew kind of got kicked off here. He had some connection issues from where he was, but we'll get him right back on, and we'll have him talk a little more about Safesite and their integration with Foresight. So, as I was mentioning, I've had several clients here at the agency that I have partnered with Safesite and Foresight. Safesite being the risk management and the safety platform, Foresight being the insurance, the work comp carrier. And I think that a pain point that lots of our clients have, especially in the construction industry or any high risk industry, manufacturing, is I think work comp. I mean, work comp tends to be difficult for people. It's expensive, especially in California. And I think that controlling the costs of work comp is something that people have on their mind. This is the type of program that could really help. And the reason why is because you can put your safety up front. I mean, you can differentiate yourself with the work comp company by proving that you're safe, and by using the Safesite program, and following through on the recommendations and using the platform regularly. It's going to help you put yourself in the forefront or in front of the work comp carrier, so that you can prove that you're a safe company. And with those safety scores and proving that you do a good job on the safety side of things, um, you're going to get better rates. So great way to differentiate yourself. I think if you're Drew said he's back. Okay. Let's see if I can't quite see him on the stream. Give me a sec here, guys. Sorry. Yeah, I don't. Drew said he came back in, but I don't see him in here. So just to talk a little further about the connection, maybe you guys are telematics or things that auto carriers are doing now, a little different from the past. Is uh, they have they're looking at safety measures, and they're measuring people's driving habits before they give them or provide insurance rates for their auto. This is kind of similar on the work comp side. I don't see you in here, Drew. Backstage. I don't know. Hey guys, I'm going to pause here for a second, see if I can get Drew back on. Oh, I see him now. Okay, there's Drew. Hey Drew, I think we have some connection issues, man. Your network connection seems to be a little bit slow. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but we're having issues getting Drew on. So see if I can get it back on. I'm going to pause here for a minute, guys, and see what I can do. I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. Drew, can you see me?
Oh yeah.
There you are. Yeah, I think. Did you get kicked off the network?
I got bounced somehow.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, thanks for coming back on. I was talking a little bit about where we had left off. You were talking about the Safesite platform and how it kind of integrates with Foresight. I think something that I wanted to talk about before we get to that is the emphasis on safety. I think we hear about it more and more and more for multiple reasons. I mean, I think with the pandemic and employee health and keeping employers with an emphasis on keeping employees safe, of course, from the pandemic, you start to open up other issues that people think about. But how is Safesite? I mean, I think people want to find solutions, and how is Safesite helping more companies become safe and get to those safety measures so that they're minimizing their risk and getting better loss controls in place?
That's a great question. One of the first things we do, all the losses they've had. For the loss run, usually we can hands on losses, what's driving their severity in losses. But then we take it one step further and we look at what's driving loss in that industry as a whole. So we'll organization look at the NAICS code they work and see what kind of injuries are happening there. And with Safesite, we're able to describe specific meeting topics that address those losses and loss drivers in order to kind of slow those losses down in the field. So that application gives us the ability to share that information across the areas because it's mobile. We can send that information out to foreman, any supervisor across the country that's working with an organization, and say, hey, complete some training on these specific topics. And they can do that, and we can see them and see happening and how well they're completing those specific actions, which is half the battle, is getting the knowledge out there to the field.
Now, do you guys find once you implement the program with companies, they utilize it well?
Yeah, we usually have an onboarding time where we want to teach the company how to use the application, where the real value is, and how we can kind of prove that to them. And once we get that learning curve, I call it, kind of taken care of, and that takes a couple of weeks, then it's full steam ahead. Employers usually jump on and they're able to use the application pretty well on a weekly basis.
Now, what do you do in the event that you find that some people aren't using it? And I'm sure I'm just throwing that out there in case people are listening and they're saying, well, what if I have staff that aren't following through or aren't using it properly?
Sure.
Do you guys help with that, or is that more on the employer? Yeah.
No, we have a weekly check-in call where we reach out to our point of contact at that organization and say, hey, how can we help? We see there's some issues going on. What can we do to make it easier for you? We're onboarding training. We'll go out in the field and help those organizations kind of use the application. So there's a bunch of different ways we try to help companies utilize that tech in the field to give them a better advantage.
That's awesome, man. So it seems like the reach of what you guys can do and what you can accomplish, especially with the tech backing, is, more than maybe just a risk management company that relies on people being in the field, right? Like their people being out there with their companies. It seems like you can reach more companies in more areas by doing it this way.
Yeah, totally. Resources are at a premium, especially now. So if you're a usual company, you have a safety department and there's employees that work specifically in that arena of safety and health, and they're trying to get that message out to all the employees in the field and the foreman. And what we're giving them is a tool. We're giving them a tool that they can utilize to do that. And, the larger organizations are, the harder it is to reach all the employees. And by giving them that mobile application tool, it really helps push that safety message.
So tell us a little, what changes did you see, or what differences did you guys see during COVID?
I mean, during COVID, everything changed. Everything changed during COVID. It was unbelievable. It was one of them an unprecedented times. I definitely in my life, unprecedented. It just changed the way we do business across the board. The construction industry didn't slow down. They did not slow down. There was no real break in what they were doing. And those individual employees were out there, working every day, their 8, 12 hours. And what they started relying on were different types of tech advantages. And how can we conduct trainings in specifically small amount of groups of people? You can't have more than 6 people in an area. How do we get this training done? And they started leaning on different types of tech to do that. And got a lot of traction when that was going on with Safesite, because we were able to put that message out to anyone that had the application on their phone to complete first the COVID training that was required, like how to get up to date on the COVID required training state by state. And then also all the other things you needed to do to keep people safe at work were still there. You still had to have fall protection. You still had to have emergency action plans. You still had to have all those other required safety trainings and safety documents put together. And the tech advantage that a Safesite application was able to give organizations really help with that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Did Safesite see growth during the pandemic?
Yeah, because I just said they were able to. There are organizations that were able to use that, and because you can create your own templates and make what you need to make outside of just the Safesite library. It gave organizations with the safety department the ability to create what they had on paper already and then project it out to all the employees in the field digitally. And that really was able to extend their reach of the required safety training and any training they wanted to get done during that time.
Yeah, man, just powerful tool. What industries do you guys? Obviously, construction. Is one that really needs safety and management. But what other industries do you work in?
We have a lot of organizations in the ag space, manufacturing, construction. We kind of pepper all fields, and any industry will work with a Safesite technology because we're able to take information in, create, mirror what you need on paper, and then give them back to the organization. So it's pretty much whatever organization, whatever industry you work in, we can kind of create the required digital documents.
That's awesome, man. So we started speaking before about the work comp connection, and I mean, being in the insurance business, and of course, from you being in the safety business, I think a pain point a lot of business owners and executives have is work comp. I mean, it's expensive. People don't like to have to. They think that their premiums are consistently increasing every year. And I think, I think the Safesite and Foresight connection is brilliant. I mean, I really think it could change the landscape of how companies their work comp is managed and their rates and how they're priced. But can you tell me a little bit more about that and how you think it could change the landscape of work comp going forward?
Yeah, like the way that Safesite looks at workers' comp is just different. The way Foresight looks at workers' comp is just different. We look at it more of as how can we help an organization in this specific line of coverage? And that starts with what we said, that loss source analysis, and we can see what is driving loss for a company. And that tells the underwriters what's driving loss, okay? And if we're able to then put blocks around that and pinpoint our attack to reduce first the frequency loss, a specific kind of action or a specific type of work they're doing on a daily basis, what can we do or what can we help with in order to reduce that exposure to the employees? That's going to drive down that specific type of loss, okay? If we look at what the most severe losses are, what's really, what financially and what's really the worst injuries we're having, and how can we put blockers around that? And we're able to pinpoint our messaging a lot more than just a paper-based product reviewed once a year. That is really powerful stuff in the workers' comp world, where we're able to kind of start driving down losses as a whole. And then the connection with Foresight and Safesite, Foresight's able to offer premium help to cover outside of that XMOD, that 3-year XMOD.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I touch on pretty often is there's, for clients to understand, there's different rating factors that come into a work comp premium. XMODs are obviously one that's on everybody's mind because, those are filed and you have to use those as a work comp underwriter. But, there's premium discounts, there's merit discounts, there's territory modifiers. But for Safesite to take that data and get real-time use of it so that, for one, you can lessen the severity or the frequency of work comp claims. But for two, I mean, it's like, hey, if you think that your company has a better safety culture and you deserve better rates, well, I mean, Safesite's basically taking the data and putting it right there for you, where you can get better rates.
Yeah, 100%. Look, and that's what I always say. The Safesite Foresight relationship is a great relationship. It wants to jump in with 2 feet. And they wanted to work and put the effort into employee safety and utilize the Safesite application and generate those good safety scores. And they deserve to get a better comp for their workers' compensation premium. That's just, it's like the Geico or any of those auto drive safe applications. You're proving that you're a safe company on a weekly basis. And that's what really changes the way you look at workers' comp.
It's funny that you say that, because when we had some connection issues before you came back on, I was telling the audience it's very similar to the telematics use in driving. Insurance companies using that and picking up on driving habits and then giving people pricing based on that. Pretty similar. I mean, look at your safety record, look at your loss prevention, look at your loss control, look at your meetings, and then put that into combination with work comp and see how you can start to save money and really drive down your losses and just get a better culture overall. So, Drew, a couple things. Can companies nationwide work with you?
They can work with Safesite for sure as a software solution. Foresight is working to roll out across the country here, hopefully by the end of the year, and they'll have a workers' comp option nationally.
Now, what's the best way for people watching and they want to start implementing great risk control and safety into their company? How do they get in touch with you? What's the best way to start off?
The best way to start off would probably visit the website, Safesite, safesitehq.com, and take a look at what we're doing from the digital standpoint. And then obviously I'll share my contact information. Reach out to me and I'll get you set up for sure.
Yep, that'd be great, Drew. If you can maybe just give that to us now, and I'll make sure to post it when we release the podcast episode.
Yeah, my email is drew@safesitehq.com, and you can email me directly and I can help you from there.
Great. So you can get in touch with Drew. You can also get in touch with me. You guys know how to get in touch with me. You can call me directly at 858-384-1507. You can email me at mike@foagency.com. I'll be happy to get you in touch with Drew. And keep in mind, you don't have to have the work comp program to go along with Drew's with Safesite. I mean, you can work with Safesite and have no connection at all to the work comp. They're completely separate companies, but they do work together to help the customer, like Drew said before. The key is to help the customer, implement better safety protocols and thus save on work comp if you choose that. Drew at safesitehq.com, and of course the website safesitehq.com. If you're looking for a great solution for your risk management and safety. Drew, thanks so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. Anything you want to talk about before we end this episode?
No, this is great. This is a great podcast too. I like the risk management insurance spin on this. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for joining. Yeah, we appreciate it, guys. Make sure you can connect with Drew also on LinkedIn. He has a really cool profile, and you can see all his experience. And hey, who's better to explain things that could happen in the field than a guy who worked for OSHA for 8 years, right?
That's right. I got a pretty good base of knowledge, which is good. So,
yeah, awesome, man. Well, thank you guys again for listening on the Insurance Haus, and we appreciate your time. Drew, thanks again.
Thanks a lot.